Right, that was a long day. Now, I think for the next panel, I think we have 2 more hours of a panel, right? Right. So, just two. For those of you just warming up, no, I just wanted to give a big round of thanks to everybody who contributed today. We recognize, kind of the time and effort everybody has to put in to come, sit in the same space for a whole day and engage. I find it incredibly valuable personally, and thank you for taking the time today to come and make this event success. I just want to give a big thanks to UC Davis, LBNL, the CEC staff for the incredible work that they've done. I do want to call out at least our office, Jane Park and Ching Tan, who have been incredible from our office to get this done. We've heard a lot of good things. Friendly competition is always really good. We do celebrate California's success and ability to be at the forefront a lot, but knowing that we can catch up on some issues in demand flexibility is really humbling, but also a chance for us to prove that we could do better here. So with that, there's a few points that were laid out all of today, especially around data access that we just talked about a lot. I think that's an easy one maybe to fix. We'll look to our PUC colleagues and the Energy Commission to think that through. There's a lot of opportunity around locational value and engaging devices directly, and how do we do a better job on bringing pieces together. Around the data, around the key challenges, apart from data challenges, I've heard M&V and the complexity and fragmentation of different programs, and how do we unify that into a single structure that allows for maximal scale and simplicity. So overall, super excited with everything we've heard today and looking forward to continuing to work with everybody. With that, I would like to invite Commissioner Houck, who has 35 minutes, no, just kidding, about 5 minutes to provide us a quick summary on her takeaways. Just recognizing this is an all hands effort. CEC cannot be successful without PUC being successful and us all being successful. So Commissioner Houck, please take away.
So thank you, Vice Chair Gunda. I just want to really commend everyone. This is an amazing event, and just the tremendous turnout shows how important this issue is and what a critical issue it is for the state to make sure it, as I've said numerous times as a commissioner, that this is a top priority for me, and it is and should be a top priority for the state. We are going to need to implement load flexibility to meet our clean energy goals, and so I have the honor of doing some closing remarks today. I first want to thank UC Davis. I want to thank the Energy and Efficiency Institute and Ben Finkler for hosting the event here today. I want to thank Lawrence Livermore Berkeley Lab for co-hosting the event, and the California Energy Commission, Vice Chair Gunda and his staff, particularly Ching Tan and Jane Park in his office, for all of their work and for coordinating with my office. Again, as was discussed today, California's electricity system is undergoing rapid transformation on our pathway to high penetration of renewables, electrification of buildings and transportation, and deployment of behind-the-meter distributed energy resources. In order to do this, we need adaptable strategies to accommodate the transformation, to avoid or reduce impacts of these trends on California's power grid, and to also capture the significant demand side potential enabled by electrification and customer distributed energy resources. We're doing a lot of work statewide, coordinating among and between energy agencies, and I want to just take a look at each of the panels today and provide just some very brief insights, because I think I'm the last thing between everyone and the reception. So just want to touch on each of the panels. I want to recognize the first panel today. Ching, Vice Chair Gunda's office, provided a great overview of demand flexibility and really set the stage for the day and left us with some key questions to think about as we were listening to the experts on each of the panels today. The next panel was the fireside chat among regulators. We had representatives from the California Energy Commission, from the California Public Utilities Commission, and the California Independent System Operator. And although each of these agencies have different roles in implementing demand-side, the use of demand-side resources and demand flexibility, there were commonalities there. We saw themes of predictability, reliability, and affordability that were discussed. Commissioner McAllister highlighted the challenge of embracing uncertainty of demand flexibility as a resource, and how at its core, demand flexibility is an evolution of energy efficiency, which is one of the CEC's key historic functions. And I want to note that even back as early as the 1970s, California has statutes on the books that look at load management. Today, we have the technology and we have the need as we're reaching our SB 100 goals to make sure we have a flexible grid that meets the needs of the 21st century. California has always been a global leader in energy innovation, and demand flexibility should not be any different. So again, this needs to be a key priority for us as we're moving forward in making sure that we have the grid that will accommodate all of the things we heard today from our panelists. It's going to be important that the California Independent System Operator is able to get visibility on these resources, and as was noted by Mark Rothleader, that the ISO is looking at shifting how it looks at supply and demand as we're getting more intermittent supply, whereas in the past, that was not the case. And now that we have that intermittent supply, we're also going to need to look at how we shift demand side resources. President Reynolds highlighted affordability issues, reliability, and some of the challenges that we're facing with climate change in regards to how heat waves across the West also impact how we're able to bring in resources to the state. And Commissioner Skinner acknowledged the need to make sure that we make demand flexibility mechanisms easy for customers, that automation is going to be important. That was a theme throughout the day as well, and we have to make this as customer friendly as possible. There is a lot of folks in this room that probably think a lot about demand flexibility, and what we need is a system that allows folks that can think as much or as little as they want about how this is going to work, but it's going to need to work for everybody. We then heard from Senator Becker. Senator Becker talked about the fact that all too often demand flexibility is talked about in terms of having to give something up or a sacrifice. However, we know that this actually can be a tremendous opportunity load flexibility can support load growth, maximize the use of distribution systems, and ultimately lower bills for customers. Senator Becker emphasized the need to tell that story as we're talking about demand flexibility and looking at what we need to do from regulatory perspective as well as an implementation perspective. He also highlighted data centers and how they can serve as an opportunity for demand flexibility rather than being focused on large load challenges that arise from data centers coming online. And so we need to really look at these opportunities. Our first plenary panel discussed lessons learned from existing and past programs. Some of the key themes included the need to focus on affordability, the need to ensure the experience is easy and automated with automated control devices, and the need for practicability, which was a key theme throughout the day, again, that we heard in most of the panels. The next plenary session discussed demand-side load flexibility with a focus on the customer's perspective and considering customers as a central component of demand flexibility. And we heard some excellent examples. We heard themes regarding how to ensure we've got the appropriate rate design to make sure that this is affordable and that there's predictability for prices for customers. I want to note the AgFit dynamic rate pilot that Valley Clean Energy has sponsored. We heard about that and the success of that program, and we need to look and have more discussions about successful pilots and how we can take what we've learned there and translate it into what we're doing daily for all customers. Our third plenary, some of the key themes of this panel included experience in scaling virtual power plants, minimizing inconvenience to customers, and scaling opportunities. We heard from industry experts on some of the examples that they were implementing. For example, Nostromo shared the opportunity for load shifting of HVAC systems at large buildings and using innovative energy storage, and the scale of the opportunity to shift that HVAC load is one example. And then our most recent panel focused on what California can learn on demand flexibility from other places around the country and around the world. There were lessons learned from smart thermostat programs in Ontario and Arizona, aiming to keep programs simple for customers. And I think that was a theme today too. As we're moving this forward, it's gotta be usable for everyday customers, folks that don't sit in these rooms and have these conversations. It's really gotta be, it needs to be usable, but there's tremendous opportunities. We heard about examples of DER partners in Texas and Massachusetts, highlighting the importance of data access. And that is something critical that California needs to resolve that issue. We have proceeding at the PUC where we're looking at data access, and we can look at some of these other examples from around the country to hopefully help support what we're looking at here in California. VGI market integration programs in the EU, US, and Japan were talked about. Lessons learned from dynamically managing EV charging and discharging in the UK and making participation for customers easier. Data access across Texas and Illinois and how that can support load flexibility. So we had great discussions from a tremendous number of experts that were in the room. And so I just really want to say that it's a very exciting time to be here in California. This is a key priority that we really need to make sure that we are all working together to get to the same place. So as a utility regulator, I am particularly focused on the question of how we can ensure demand flexibility supports both reliability and affordability, and I do believe it can for utility ratepayers, and meeting affordability and reliability goals will help ensure the sustainability of our demand flexibility policies, which in turn will ensure that we meet our clean energy goals. The PUC is working on some of these objectives, and we're coordinating with our sister agencies. I won't go into detail on what all of those are because I know we only have a little bit of time left. And so while we're taking important steps to accelerate demand flexibility, the discussion today certainly highlights that there is more work to be done. And I think we all acknowledge that there is a lot more work to be done. However, demand flexibility can work effectively and we can scale it in California. And to do that, we need to collaborate across agencies, across the PUC, the Energy Commission. We need to collaborate with our utilities, the California community aggregators, and California ISO. To scale demand flexibility management solutions, we're going to have to do that to ensure that we have the support we need for the grid of the 21st century. And we'll need to work together to create policies that support a landscape for innovation, and that includes technology innovation. It includes thinking outside the box with our policies. And this is something that we can do, and we are on a good road to do that, as evidenced by all of the things we heard today in this amazing summit. So again, I want to thank everyone who participated in the summit, all of our panelists, all of the participants that were here today, and all of the folks that organized the summit. And I really hope to get an opportunity for more engagement like this. I think we need more discussions, and we need to raise these issues in multiple forums as we're moving forward with developing our energy policies in California. So thank you.
All right, we have just Ben to say a few thank yous, so I'll bring Ben on, but I just wanted to give Commissioner Houck one more round of thanks. It's a lot of information to summarize. She did forget one particular thing, which I know we wrote her on her piece of paper to make sure she says the Energy Commission is awesome, and she forgot that. So with that, I want to invite Ben to close us off. Thank you all.
All right, I won't forget. The Energy Commission is awesome. Many of you know that I've had the, first of all, Commissioner Houck, there's a reason why we keep inviting you back to moonlight and guest lecture at the university. So thank you for capturing so much in such a small amount of time. And Audrey as well. Thank you to Audrey. So I know Tom Flynn is going to be finding Audrey to share notes. But I just want to say, many of you know that I had the honor of working for the vice chair at the Energy Commission for a year and a half with him, and it's really been fun to work with him and his team on putting on this event today. So thank you for your inspiration and for your leadership in making this event happen, Vice Chair, and I think we all appreciate it, both just a wonderful set of discussions today. I want to call out some specific people to thank them because it did take a village. So let's see. I'm going to say some names. If you're in the room, please stand up. If you're not in the room, if you see these people at the reception, please, well, you don't have to buy them a drink, but at least go say hi to them and thank them. So Jane, will you please stand up? Ching, will you stand up? Susie Speakman. David Earn, you were up here earlier, but stand up again. Kadir, Steph, if you're here too, please stand up. Sherry and Will and Paul. Jing now on behalf of Marianne and Alan Meyer as well. Please, yes, thank you so much. You can sit down, but I'm going to just talk a little bit more about these folks. I spent weekly calls for the past 4 months with them, and it was multiple days a week. And many of these folks were here at 5:30 this morning planning for this fun reception. So they really did go above and beyond. So thank you to them for making it an awesome experience. It starts with the Energy Commission. LB&L is a fantastic partner, and so many people on the UC Davis team. And by the way, there are many other volunteers that I didn't call their names, but they're here, and they did great. So I also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors. This is, you'll notice, it's actually in an alphabetical order, so they're all special. But Advanced Energy United, Daikin, Honda, LEWP, Panasonic, PG&E, SDG&E, SMUD, and Southern California Edison. Many of them offered speakers for our event today too, which was fantastic. Last thing I'll say is Valley Clean Energy gets the biggest logo up here just because they're paying for the drinks. I will say Mitch Sears was here earlier, but he had to leave. But Bapu, I think, is here, Vaitla, who's on the chair of the board. He's also the Honorable Mayor of the City of Davis to welcome you. So make sure you don't have to buy him a drink. He's here to do that for you. So anyways, wonderful event. Really appreciate everyone being here today. And I hope you'll stay and enjoy kind of more networking, avoid the traffic, going back to Sacramento, just spend a little bit more time here. And we've got more to do. A survey will go out on how we did and how we can make this maybe better the next time if we do it again next time, Vice Chair. So we'll talk about that. But again, such a great opportunity to see all of you. And one last round of applause for all the partners.